It's the fun part.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to From the Heart. I'm Joshua.
And I'm Mary.
And we're excited to bring to you all that's new and good when it comes to the arts in Central Florida.
Today, we're speaking with Mayor Buddy Dyer. We'd like to learn a little bit about our city mayor and the life he's led that brings him here today.
So, Mayor, we're so glad that you're with us. Tell us about your journey of how you got to become mayor.
Well, it was a pretty long journey. I was actually born in the city of Orlando. So for those of you who are in your 50s, it was Orange Memorial Hospital, which is where Orlando Health is now. Wow. I grew up in Kissimmee, and the reason I was born in Orlando, my parents were from Kissimmee at the time, but they didn't have a hospital in Kissimmee, so if you were going to be born in a hospital, you came up to Orlando. Wow. But it's benefited me because the hospital I was born in was in my Senate district and, of course, in the city of Orlando. So I grew up in Osceola County, went to Osceola High School, Cowboys with a K, graduated in '76, went to Brown University, got an engineering degree there, came back and worked as an engineer for about 4 years, and then went to law school at the University of Florida, graduated, met my wife there, met my wife-to-be there, came back to Orlando, practiced law for between 15, 20 years, but was also during the course of that time elected to the state Senate. I was there for 10 years, was a Democratic leader for a number of years in the Florida Senate. And when I was termed out, I was asked by then Senator Bob Graham to come to D.C. and to be his general counsel. He was going to run for president. And it was right after Jeb had won re-election, and he asked Glenda Hood to come be Secretary of State. So there was a special election for mayor. I was on my way to D.C. I think I'd been in City Hall one time in my life, but everybody kept calling and calling and calling and saying, you have to do this. You're the guy that can represent both the east side of Orlando and the west side. Well, there were already 7 people in this race, and it's the end of December, and the election is going to be the 3rd week in January, I guess. So I talked with my family, and what put me over the top is Pastor Sam Green, who's the pastor of St. Mark, was the pastor of St. Mark AME, which is the largest African American church in the city of Orlando, called me at about, I don't know, 6:30 a.m. one morning. And he said, Buddy, we have been praying about this right now, and we know that you have to run for mayor. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it.
How can you say no to that, right?
It was very hard. And so we decided that we would do that. We were fortunate and won that election, and here it is 12 years later.
But you majored in engineering. Did you think that your career in life was going to take a different path back then?
You know, generally I have career plans and paths. Believe it or not, just about everything I do, I have a path or see a path, and usually have a plan B or C, hence Sunrail or how we got the venues done or the soccer stadium. And I like to think that's one of the abilities I have, is to see a path or see a vision that other people have trouble seeing when it's not quite reality yet. But I knew that I was going to come back and practice law. But I was able to go to Brown, which was, at the time, it was the 2nd most expensive school in the country, but I had a lot of financial aid, scholarship, grants, and I wanted to work a number of years because I was putting myself through law school, so I saved up enough money that I could come out of law school without very much debt. So that's why I worked as an engineer. And I'm more mathematically inclined than, it's hard to believe that for a politician, he's more mathematically inclined than communication. But I took one political science class in my entire life, and while I was at Brown, I took national security policy.
So leadership comes naturally to you. Is that?
I guess that's right. I've always had leadership opportunities or responsibilities. I was captain of the baseball team in high school. I was captain of the rugby team in college. I was editor-in-chief of the Law Review. So I would say that I maybe seek out or aspire to leadership roles.
I'm curious, because we talk about arts here. Is there an art to leadership?
I think there is, and there's certainly different styles of leadership.
Talk about that.
My style is to be collaborative and try to bring out the best in people that work with me and give them great flexibility to tell them the result that I would like to see, but to let them figure out their way of going about and getting something done. And I truly believe the decision makers in City Hall now, would make the same decision that I would make 95% of the time, but they know that the other 5% of the time I've got their back, and it's not going to be an issue. We're just going to go with the decision that they made. So it gives them great confidence in being able to do the job or carry out the task that they're charged with.
Are you born to be a leader, or can you be taught?
Oh, good question.
I think you can definitely develop leadership skills. You can definitely develop leadership skills, or all these guys that are out teaching leadership schools, skills that you have to pay $500 to take a course on. Wouldn't be getting people to sign up for that. But there certainly, you can read about great leaders in history and their different styles. You know, other people rule through fear, right? I don't think that's a good leadership style, but there are people that lead that way.
You said something brilliant earlier. You said